Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to the November channel update. And I'm pretty sure that this month isn't actually as bad as I'm feeling it was right now. I'm pretty sure it's just that I've had a meh day, but still, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. Regardless, let's jump right in. What was my life like? If you've never worked at a school around the holidays, it's highly tricky because their schedules are all knocked out of whack. There's the promise of really fun free time coming up, but you're not there yet. And a lot of kids will mentally check out of school before you get to the holidays. So it's very tricky. And then I work in a BD classroom, which tends to have a lot of kids with things going on at home. And for some reason, this has just been a conflagration of things going on at home for kids. So you have compassion, you understand why they're acting the way they are, but also please stop throwing chairs. So it's been iffy, and part of it might be the fact that this was also NaNoWriMo, which, looking back, why do they make NaNoWriMo in November? Really, it should be a month that doesn't have a major holiday in it. I did get a lot of writing done, but I don't know how confident I am in any of it. There were good parts, but it also felt like a lot of it was just filler stuff to get words written. So I think I should probably go back to not relying on NaNoWriMo to help me write, because I have written 90,000 word stories before outside of Nano. I don't need it to finish stories anymore like I used to. And, well, yes, there was a group meetup. They never met at a good time for me because it was mostly Sunday evenings, which I used to prepare myself for the week, or Saturday mornings when I had a blood donation or something else going on. So it never worked out. I went to the first one set up for a write-in, and then I never went to the rest of them. I take it back. I did try one. I tried to go to one once at a coffee shop, but for some reason there was a kid's birthday going on, and I was like, I'm not sitting here and trying to write a story at a child's birthday party. That's not happening. So I'm gonna put the story to the side for now, probably for a hot minute, and then I will probably have to read through the story I have so far to see if I even want to continue with it as is, or if I need to start changing some things before I move forward. And I think I just probably need to be done with NaNoWriMo for a while. There is still obviously merit in the story, and I do still want to write it, but I probably should not have pushed myself to write 50,000 words, because I'm almost certain that several thousand of those are going to have to be cut and edit. But I won again. I've never not won Nano, but it didn't quite feel like the victory that it usually feels. And regardless, definitely looking forward to those holiday breaks. Maybe I'll change my tune at the end of December when I'm filming while on a holiday break. And in the back of my head, I know that things have the capacity to improve. Schedules have been changed and kids have switched schools, and there's a lot of possibilities moving forward of things improving. But for right now, it just definitely feels like muddling through. But let's go on to something a little bit happier. How was my reading? My reading went pretty well, depending on the metric you use. If you view it through how many review books have I read, I did dismally, because I only finished one review book. Not read it front to back. No. I started the book months ago because it's a Shammy Stovall and it was a chonker, and her endings scare me. So I put it off for the longest time, but I finally finished it this month, so I got that review out. But I didn't do anything else. And I did formally close 2 review requests, and I did remember to put on the actual review policy that I post everywhere that I am closed, because I forget so often that a lot of people are finding my review work through older videos or through like other indie databases, or they're, you know, not finding it through the social media ways where I talk about being closed. So I finally remembered to update that, but I will be closed for the rest of the calendar year, and I have a bunch of things to think about moving forward. I'll get to that in a second. And if you view my reading through the lens of my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, I did fantastically. I've mentioned this before, but if you don't know, a Pop Sugar Reading Challenge is a reading challenge set up by the lifestyle media site brand Pop Sugar. And in some circles, the reading challenge is actually more popular than the rest of like the site and the brand. But it is a setup where you have both regular prompts and then like super hard prompts. And I think it's supposed to be set up to have like 52 books. I think it's supposed to be like a book a week type of thing. So I should be able to beat it, right? Because I read more than double that in the average year. Like my lowest year is 120, but I have never managed it. I have tried as far back as 2015, but I always get bored and abandoned it some way through probably May. And so this year when I realized that I was super close and I could get it, I was like, I gotta try. So I went through and I sat down and I got all the picks taken care of. And then I also had to like sit down and think out, okay, I want to do the reindeer readathon. What Pop Sugar books am I going to include on that? So what do I need to read in November? And I got everything I needed to read in November read. So I have like 4 or 5 books left for Pop Sugar for the year, and I can get that read in December. No problem. So I will have beaten the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge for the first time ever. And I am really excited about that, even as much as I am bummed that I have to put aside review books, because no matter how many times I tried, I could not make them fit the prompts. And I wanted to actually beat the challenge this year. So if I maybe have some time and space in December, I will hopefully get that caught up a little bit, maybe read a couple more review books. However, as I have been a lot stricter on what I take in, I am not as overwhelmed as I would be otherwise. And most of the people on my list are authors that I've reviewed before that understand the weight and understand the reason for it. So doing really well with that. The biggest thing that this month gave me in terms of reading positivity was actually planning. I have already started thinking about the new year. What do I want to do? And I have a lot of big plans coming up. For example, I want to start a TBR game using my D20 and some Dungeons and Dragons mechanics. And I'm going to try and become a data girly. Like I literally went through my series tracking sheet and I DNF'd all the series that I didn't want, and I color coded everything and I kept it all up to date. And I started inputting more things to encourage myself to read series and to finish series. And I came up with all these ideas for New Year's resolutions and plans moving forward. So I'm still going to take it a little bit easy for December because I am feeling so meh, but I'm hoping to put in some good work over the holiday break to hit the ground running in the new year. Now obviously all these plans could be done apart, pulled asunder by stress and things. However, I am going into December and the new year with one fewer giant stress in my life. Like, for how suckish November was work-wise, I didn't have any symptoms from meds that I had to deal with, and I didn't have any like fears or worries or stress over like menstrual cycle stuff. So I am very firm in that we made the right decision in that. So I'm hoping without that extra drain on my mental and emotional battery moving forward, I can actually make 2023 the year of growth instead of a year of rest. But you never know. We're fingers crossed hopeful, but I'm having fun creating all these plans, and the fact that I have been able to catch up on my pop sugar shows me that I can do it. The trick is getting through the end of the year and actually finishing it out with the prompts I have picked for myself so far. I think I can do it. I am feeling optimistic about that at least. And fingers crossed that eventually, the things put in place at work are going to start having the effect on behaviors we want. We just got to kind of grit our teeth and get through it till it gets better. So, another mixed bag. Life is a mixed bag, as we have learned throughout these channel updates. I am still debating whether or not to keep going with these in December, or in the new year, rather. I'll let you know in December what I decide, if I keep it as is or if I change it and maybe drop a little bit more of the IRL stuff and just focus on reading, so I can get a little bit more into, maybe talk about my highlights and highlight a couple books that I've talked about in the monthly wrap-ups. Regardless, thank you so much for paying attention. I know there's only a very small group of people that have been interested in these, but it does mean a lot to see that people are invested. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.